It all started with that first test drive. I mean, look at those smiling faces. One drive in the Model Y and I was sold. A month later, my wife and I were taking delivery of our first Tesla, our Model Y, from Jacksonville, Florida. And of course, the entire family fell in love with it automatically. It's been so much fun, and since then, we've taken an over 4,000-mile trip from Florida all the way to Washington State, touching 14 states in between, and meeting some really cool people like Evans here in Kentucky. If you follow our channel, you know we've been really blessed to do some amazing things together as a family. We've driven cross-country 5 times, 2 times in the last 6 months, and one of those times was our first time driving a Tesla Model Y across country. So after 5,000 miles of ownership, what do we think about it? Would we recommend it? Would we do it over again? If you're in the market for your first Tesla or a Model Y, would we recommend it to you? Well, hopefully in the next couple of minutes as I talk about these things on my drive to work, it'll answer some of those questions for you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all your support. Please drop a comment and let us know what you think. Welcome to the Spencer Adventure. This is another Tesla video. Our life, I'll put up front, is an adventure. We do all kinds of stuff. We move around a lot. Every couple of years we're moving somewhere, so everywhere we go we try to make the most of it. We're back here in Seattle, which is familiar to us. It's where we started our family. In the meantime, speaking of family, Tesla is the newest addition to our family. It's part of our life, and so I'll try to take you through it the best I know how. But let's begin by talking about that road trip that we just had. 4,000 miles from Florida all the way to Washington State. We've done that drive before, but we've done it in an ICE. ICE is an internal combustion engine. I anticipated I would be cruising today on the freeway. Anyway, so we're taking side roads. As I stop at lights, I think I feel safer talking to you guys. So let me say, the trip was fun. It was an experience. It was an adventure. We're a family. That's all that matters. But if I could do it again, I would probably choose to do it in an ICE vehicle, and I'll tell you why. I think if it comes down to either having to do it in a Tesla or choosing to do it in a Tesla, if you double the time, in other words, if you say in an internal combustion engine vehicle you're going to take, say you're going to take like a week, I would definitely double that to make it 2 weeks. I'm talking East Coast to West Coast, because the charging and the time, the stoppage time is something that you really can't account for coming from an internal combustion engine to a Tesla. It's not a bad thing, it's just a thing that you have to factor in to your drive. So I would say on average we stopped every 200 to 250 miles, and we charged anywhere from a half an hour to 45 minutes, or maybe in some cases an hour. Sometimes the car will tell you to charge for 20 minutes just to get you to the next stop. So I'll re-explain it again. When you put in a destination point A to point B, so if I put in Jacksonville, Florida to Seattle, Washington, in between it'll do waypoints telling you how many charging stations to stop and where they are, and it does all the math for you to tell you how long you need to stop at each destination. So sometimes I would stop, and if it says like charge for 25 minutes, I charge maybe 45 minutes. I give myself a little extra because there's also a thing called range anxiety. Range anxiety, it's like your phone. I explained that before. It's like your phone when you're down at 5% or 10%. You know, it may or may not last to get to your charger, but you just have this anxiety that builds up in you. So imagine that phone, that feeling of, you know, when you have a phone, transfer that into a car in which it's your only transportation to get to the next stop. So range anxiety is something real that we experience. All that to say, there's a lot of factors in a Tesla, not factors you can't mitigate, not factors that you can't work around. But again, there's, you know, we basically just jumped in and said, hey, let's go, because we had to get back to Seattle in our new Tesla that we bought all the way in Jacksonville, Florida. So there you go. If I had a choice, I would choose to do it in internal combustion engine. So positive side, you get a lot of family time together. So you're in the car, you're enjoying a new car at these charging stops. So at the Superchargers are what they call, where you charge your Tesla to get to the next point. Most of these Superchargers are located at either things like a shopping center, a restaurant. We stopped in one in Georgia, which was basically at an Olive Garden. So most of them are at places of business, so it's not in the middle of nowhere. We did run into a couple in the middle of nowhere, and it's kind of like you ask yourself, well, why is that here? So in a Tesla, you spend a lot of family time together, a lot of stops, a lot of eating, a lot of exploring. So I think it's an adventurous, type of car. So again, a good thing. You just have to plan accordingly. Gas is ludicrous right now. It's ridiculous. So that weighed into our decision to get a Tesla, kind of get our feet wet, and we have one internal combustion engine vehicle and one electric vehicle. We were in the market for a new vehicle anyway, so it's not like that was the only factor, but that was definitely one of the factors. We're here in Seattle. Like I said, everything on the West Coast, the gas prices are ridiculous. So that was a big factor for us. Again, not the only factor. The other factor is I have a 60-mile round trip commute to my work. Again, we're kind of talking gas, but that was another reason. So it'd be different if I was just driving down the street, but again, 35 miles basically one way. Good thing is I'm going opposite of traffic, but I just did not want to continue putting gas in two vehicles every week. The best bang for your buck in a Tesla is going to be a level 2 charger installed in your home. You basically come home and, like a cell phone, you plug it in. As soon as you get home, let it run to 80%. You can have it set and it'll shut off the charging. For us in this case, it's not going to work out. And this might speak to people that live in maybe an apartment building or somewhere, that you can't install a charger. So for the foreseeable future, we're going to be using superchargers. It can get a little inconvenient because basically if there's not a supercharger near your home, you have to either travel. Luckily for me, there's a supercharger right in the middle of my commute. So I can either go in the morning or I can go in the evening. It's a good middle ground. Again, level 2 charger in your home is the best way to use your Tesla, or I should say the most convenient. But if you can't, then you're gonna use superchargers. That's your option. I would say that's probably the only inconvenience with the Tesla we've seen so far. We have about 5,000 miles on it after that 4,000 mile trip, and just driving around in Florida beforehand. But I would say there's way more to love than not to like in a Tesla. What do I like about the Tesla? It's smooth, it's sleek. It drives way different than any other car you've probably driven before. When I say smooth, it's like the ride is smooth. The accelerator, when you hit the accelerator, Teslas are known for being pretty fast. This is not the Model S. The Model S Plaid, which just came out recently, is the fastest production car. Electric vehicles, there is no delay. In an internal combustion engine vehicle, you have obviously gas, you have transmission, and all that power has to be transferred basically when you step the pedal, when you hit the pedal, and then for all those things to take place inside the engine. Well, in an electric vehicle, you basically hit the pedal and it's instant. It's an instant power to the wheels, and so it feels very different. Yes, there's no sound, but it's just a different driving experience. And the experience overall, I love the driving experience. This vehicle has 20-inch wheels with 40 series tires, I believe, or 35. I can't remember, but there's a lot of complaints, or some people will complain about the ride comfort. I have no complaints whatsoever. I've driven vehicles, Hondas with 40 series tires the early part of my life, but I don't have any complaints about it. Again, maybe it's preference, but I don't see that this ride is rough at all. The handling is another thing that people might complain about, or the suspension. I don't have any issues with it. Then again, I drive pretty aggressive, I do, but it just hasn't been something that really bothers me. There's some things, you have in your vehicle that just bother you, you want to look into getting changed. It hasn't bothered me at all. Not taking anything away from a gas vehicle. That was a cop. Not taking anything away from a gas vehicle, but it's just, like I said, different, and I love it. Alright, what I'm using now is called Autopilot. Autopilot comes standard on basically all Teslas from what I understand. Well, again, new Tesla owner, I'm not an expert. I've learned things off of YouTube from other people and forums, so if I got something wrong, just let me know in the comments, or just a little bit of grace, I appreciate it. But Autopilot is basically cruise control on steroids. So you got cruise control. There's a stock I'll show you later, but it's basically everything you do is on the steering wheel and the stock. So it's one click down, which is cruise control once you find the speed you want to drive at, and then 2 clicks is autopilot. Autopilot basically keeps you within your lane, so it'll center you in the lane. It'll find the left and right limits, or the left and right dotted lines, and it will center you. Autopilot I use because it keeps me at the same speed, and like I said, it keeps me in the lane. I use it quite a bit, and I like it. I think it's very useful for extended drives, so it works out for me. So that's what I use, which is different, totally different from full self-drive. Full self-drive is maybe pretty popular. People think of Teslas like, oh, they drive themselves. Full self-drive is a $10,000 option additional to the price of the vehicle. So that's something you want, you buy, you include that with the price of the initial purchase. If you decide later to add it and you didn't buy it up front, you can actually add it in the app on your phone. So everything's charged and controlled on the phone. I can show you guys that later, but full self-drive, that's the difference. Full self-drive does things like you can take your hands off the wheel, it'll drive itself on the freeway, it'll lane change, so it'll get on the on-ramp, it'll get off off-ramps. I believe they're working on like this feature where it drives in the city, it can do stop and go traffic for you. And then it has a thing called a summon feature. So in the parking lot, you hit summon, and wherever it's parked, it'll come straight to you, the phone. These are all things that are pretty cool for me and for our family. It wasn't anything that we felt would fit our lifestyle, so we didn't even entertain it. It wasn't really a thought. But for other people out there, it's a perfect option, so that's full self-drive. Let's talk about accessories based on what we have. I don't have a lot of accessories, but I'll tell you the things that I have and which ones are useful. So we got a spoiler on the back, and makes the vehicle obviously look a little bit different. The performance model, which is like the top of the line model, it's like the fastest model. We got the long range. Long range is going to be a little bit more range, but anyways, the performance model comes with a spoiler, but I got an aftermarket one on ours. I think that sets it off a little bit. It looks pretty nice. Tint is something that I always do to my vehicles. There was no question about it. I tinted it darker in Florida, and it seems like here in Washington State, like a lot of people have really dark tint. I was not used to that when we left 8 years ago, but hey, that means maybe cops are pulling over for tint. So tint is good. I would 100% recommend doing your research and getting a very good reputable installer. There's a million people that install the same type of tint, but it's all about the customer service, all about the application. I went with the guy and his business in Florida. I wasn't the happiest with it. Installation was okay, but when he made some mistakes, it took me to point him out. I think he had some scheduling conflicts, which created frustration on his part. It just wasn't good customer service, so I wouldn't recommend that. It wasn't a terrible experience, but for what I paid for it, which is still considered to be less than the rest of them, I would say I expected perfection, and not only that, for him to go back and look at his work before the customer came to take a look at it. So I got 35% over the back windows. There's already, I think, a 30%, it seems like, from the factory, so it's pretty dark. On the front, I got 15%, and actually did the front windshield with 70%. It doesn't look very tinted, but I think it looks really good. But still, again, I'd find a really good installer. That's number one. The two other things that I got are heat reduction related. So obviously the front windshield, I got a really nice setup I got from Amazon. I think it was 40 bucks. It's a really good quality. It's very thick, and it's got like the reflective front, but it covers the entire front window. It fits like a glove, and that obviously is gonna help keep out heat. The only drawback I think I see to that is this brand that I have, somehow it leaves, it picks up the dirt when you take it on and off, and then it slowly dirties up the front windshield. I have the same style, or I should say a different style, two pieces on our Durango, and I never have issues with it touching the window. So this one keeps the heat out, but it touches the window, so that's a drawback, something you gotta think about. The other thing is, I got this, well, it has this awesome roof on all these Teslas, especially this Model Y. I got a shade that goes over the top, and I'm actually gonna put this on when I get to my work. Today's supposed to be 90 degrees. 90 degrees in some parts of the country might not be very hot. Over here in Seattle, it is hot. One drawback to this beautiful roof is it lets in a lot of heat, and I pointed that out on our trip from Georgia when we installed that. It kept it on the entire drive. So highly recommended. There's a factory tint that comes on it, but when it gets really hot, I don't think it's enough. And some people, say it's enough and they can deal with it. It's just for comfort level. I'm gonna put that shade up later because, like I said, it's gonna be 90 degrees here in Seattle. So when I get back to my car after work, it's gonna be super hot. So I would definitely recommend that, and I'm gonna show you right now how that is installed. $54 on Amazon, so it was a really good deal and a really useful accessory. All right, so next, look, again, I'm not gonna argue with this beautiful roof. I mean, this thing is awesome. It's gonna be 90 today, so let's take a look at the roof shade. So this is what it looks like. It comes like this. It's folded up into like 50,000 different little loops. So I'll open this up real quick. So there's that. I'm gonna open it up, and then here's the little thing I was talking about. It's like the reflective covering. All right, so these pieces here, These are like these little plastic pieces. Let me show you what they do. They're gonna actually hold. So it goes this way, you find a little gap here, and then drag it. Let's see here. Kind of drag it up toward the front. Another one goes here to the back. Let me open this up. All right, so here it goes, and this thing goes around it, facing up. Yeah. So here we go. Go back in. Let's go this way. Let's go through the rear. Yeah, I never did this before. Here we go. Rear. Last time we were traveling, I didn't have enough room to do this to the rear, so I'm gonna put it up. Pull this back. Whole thing's in now. Now I just need to latch it in. So here's the shade. I mean, it kind of it folds up. I just unfolded it because I only got one hand, but here's how it goes. So covers the entire length of the window. It's got this cool little thing. It's just a Velcro piece that goes around the rearview mirror like that. And then look at this. It covers the entire window. Oh, sorry, I got one hand. There. And this side too. So, I mean, yeah, check it out. Look, it basically blocks out all the sun from the does a really good job, I think, on the front. It saves the dash. That's what I'm always concerned about. All right, so that was kind of hard with the GoPro even, but I got it up there. It wasn't too hard once I just, focused on it. I actually only have one piece here, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It took me to open it up so I realized we're missing one. So look, it fits pretty well, but it covers that ceiling. There's a little gap, that's fine. But it's gonna keep the heat out. So between that and that will be good for heat, and I'll hit the AC. So those are some of the accessories. Those 2 accessories are heat reduction. So I'm gonna go to work and I'm gonna come out, I'm gonna continue talking. All right, here I am, I'm supercharging again. I'm off work. As you can see, I got the roof screen or roof shade installed. It's nice and cool in here. I got the AC running, but it's definitely a lot cooler than it would have been. It was about 90 degrees today. I hope this video was helpful for you. I'm gonna cut it off right here. We went through a discussion of some of the things we like at 5,000 miles and maybe some of the challenges, not too many of them, and then also some of the accessories that I think would help in your new Tesla, your Model Y. Thank you so much for watching. There are a ton of videos out there from some very professional reviewers and people that are doing a walkthrough, so I encourage you to watch those, especially if you're in the market for a Tesla Model Y. This was just, again, my own personal experience, our personal experience. Every time I get into it, I'm just so excited. And that's important to me. Some people like, just having a car from point A to point B, and there's something to that. But there's also something to when you step in a car that you purchased, you just feel really good about it. And this is one of those cars. It's exciting to drive. It's fun to drive, like I mentioned earlier. It's sleek, and it's just, it's got a lot of tech in it, so we really appreciate it. We appreciate your views. To our 358 subscribers, thank you so much. From the very first subscriber to the 358 subscriber, it's all organic. We didn't pay anybody, we didn't coerce anybody, so that means all of you guys have subscribed and enjoy our channel. We thank you so much, because without you, it really, I'm telling you, editing takes a long time, and to see the views, it really means that we have your support, and we thank you so much. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please shoot us any comments, more things you want to see, more questions you have. Again, new Tesla owners, not experts, but we're just learning as we go. So hopefully that helps you out. So before we go, don't forget, get out and explore. The Spencer Adventure out.